Hi everyone, Katie Sutton here, intuitive channel and founder of Zen Within Academy and the New Earth Now School with your August 2024 energy update. I've got 3 themes that I'd like to talk about this month. The first is reconnecting to yourself. The second is befriending the protector. And the third is the courageously open heart. Welcome to August, everyone. I understand from many of you and from my own process that July was a pretty intense month, but we have made it to August. We have made it to yet another Mercury retrograde cycle that's happening at the beginning of August, as well as opening Lion's Gate and moving towards the 8/8 portal. So it's going to be a big month of transformation and downloads and light coming in, which means that we've got a lot to process this month. So let's dive in. So the first theme that I want to talk with you all about is reconnecting to yourself. As I was sitting with the energies of August, what I noticed in this particular month is that because we've got a retrograde cycle, we have an opportunity to go back and complete some unfinished tasks and to do some redoing, if you will, of some things that maybe we've lost sight of. And I think especially since July was so intense and we have had such big energies throughout the entire summer, there is a need this month to come back home to ourselves and reconnect to ourselves and maybe recommit to our practice. I almost called this theme recommitting to our practice or to your practice. One of the things that I talk with people about a lot is that we need to create bookends or structure for our days so that we can manage the energies a little bit better. Being an empathic and sensitive person means that we do need some structure and form or some form of a practice to keep us flowing and to keep our energy fields clear. I really feel like this first theme is going to be about recommitting to whatever it is that creates safety and harmony for you. I know for me personally, I've had to really change up and recommit to my morning and my evening spiritual and really expand and make sure that I'm touching on all 4 of my etheric bodies so that I've got something for my physical body, a somatic practice, a movement practice for my physical body. I've got something for my emotional body so that I can check in with whatever's happening in my emotional landscape. I'm working with mantra and chanting for my mental body to keep me out of thought loops and keep me out of the negative consciousness that's going on in the collective as we move towards election season. And then I've got my energetic practice that I do every day with my connection to earth, my connection to source, and checking in with my energy centers and keeping my field clear. And if I'm doing that consistently, I'm making time for that every day. It's definitely helping me to navigate these highs and lows that we're having in the collective way, in this collective energy, much more easily. And so I think we've probably had a lot of things that have derailed us from our schedule, derailed us from our usual routine. That's what happens in the summertime. I watch everybody lose a little bit of focus and lose a little bit of that inner commitment to themselves and their inner work. I think as we move through August, as the kids go back to school, as the energy shifts towards fall, we're really going to be needing to reconnect and recommit to ourselves. So taking time every single day to be in your spiritual practice, whatever that means to you. I think that is a broad definition. There are so many things that can mean. And it's a practice, not a perfect, right? Practice means that we show up and we do it consistently. It is not trying to create perfection for ourselves. It's not trying to take us out of feeling our feelings or dealing with whatever it is that's happening in the world that we might be experiencing a reaction to. But it is a spiritual practice to keep us committed and connected to ourselves. So finding something this month that you can reclaim in that. I also think that there are probably some loose ends that you need to tie up this month, especially when we're in a retrograde energy. It asks us to slow down on bringing in new energy and go back and complete some things that we might have left hanging. So maybe part of this recommitting to yourself is also recommitting to some projects or some tasks that you've put on the back burner that you haven't had time for, setting some boundaries, saying no, so that you can really get some things across the finish line this month that will empower you as you move into the fall and into the winter months. here in the Northern Hemisphere to make the most out of this next shift that I see happening in the back half of the year. We are in Lionsgate energy, and this one feels very much about this personal commitment to self and our personal power, and being in our personal power through the ways that we commit to taking care of ourselves. A lot of times Lionsgate is about the big downloads and the big awarenesses and the big ahas, and I'm sure we will get those in spades this month as well. But if you've got these practices that you're committing to and you're taking good care of yourself, you're just going to create a larger landing pad for all of that information to download, okay? And all of those ahas and awarenesses and clarity to come in. I am just off of spending a week in Mount Shasta with some of our retreat participants, and it was so easy to be in connection there. Just being outside and being in nature was a way for me to get connected. And I noticed as I came back into the city, that connection is still present, but you have to work a little harder, for it. So if you're like me and you're embroiled in this city energy, or you're maybe having less outdoor time than you would like, really committing to these spiritual practices will help you immensely this month, and will help you to feel like things are flowing. Because sometimes when we get into retrograde cycles, we feel like things have stopped flowing. And really what is happening is we're giving ourselves a little bit of time to catch up to the energies that are downloading so that we can fully integrate, and then we can take our next steps and pulling that rubber band back in the slingshot. We're in that stage right now. We're going to create some momentum or some energetic, a bank of energy, if you will, that we can harness as we get out of this retrograde cycle later this month. Okay? So that's the first theme, recommitting or reconnecting to yourself and your practice. The next theme that I want to talk about is befriending the protector. And with August, with Lionsgate, comes our Leo energies. I love my Leos out there. They are big, open-hearted people, but they can also go into protector mode very easily. And so I think that all of us this month are going to be working with the protector parts of ourselves. What I've been noticing with clients and sessions leading up to August is that they have been needing to rework some of these protective stories or protective elements of their personality that maybe are keeping them safe and keeping them from taking steps forward in relationship, in personal projects, in business, in things that matter to them. And the ego is a part of this protector energy. And it's not that this protector energy is bad. All of us have experienced different heartbreaks and different things that have impacted us. This protector energy is there for a reason. But one of the things that I see us doing this month is looking at all of these parts of us that are keeping us safe and protecting us, and developing a new relationship with them, and really just tuning in and saying, okay, is this thing that you're protecting me from still a threat? Is it still happening in my life? Do I still need to be in this kind of fear zone of whatever this experience is that I've had? Or can I work with this protector part to upgrade it or up-level it to a new frequency so that I may be able to experience more connection and more flow in my life? And I do see us de-shielding or de-armoring ourselves. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the next theme that we're going to work on in our healing circle. But I really feel like these protector parts have served us very well, and we can honor them and we can validate them, and then we can invite them to move into a new frequency. So let's say that you've experienced some betrayal in relationship. Let's say that maybe you've had some difficult experiences in business, or maybe somebody has really impacted you in friendship. Any of those things that maybe you've created a protector part because of an experience. Is it okay now for you to let that story go? Remembering in July, we really worked on releasing some old trauma stories that we were carrying. And as you let that story go, can you allow those parts that have been on high alert, in hypervigilance, in protection mode, to put down their shields, put down their protection, and create the possibility for more open connection? And as we de-armor and we release these shields, one thing that you may notice is that there's this feeling of vulnerability that comes up with that protector part. It has been a part of your life maybe for a really long time. You might have had this protector part since you were very little, and it's not going away. We all need these aspects of self to keep us safe and to help us set boundaries. But I do see that we're going to just be experiencing a shift in that aspect of our personality this month. And I think it's going to be positive because I think that this protector part, especially in the last 3 or 4 years as we've moved through so many really difficult things on this planet in the collective, this is a part that's hackles can get raised very easily. It can be very reactive sometimes. As we up level in these parts, it just creates a little bit more of a pause and an ability for us to meet people where they are without so much reactivity. Doesn't mean that we let people walk all over us or we exist in this state of permanent vulnerability where we can't take care of ourselves and protect ourselves if needed, but it really just allows us to wipe away a lens, or what I like to call an ego filter, that we may be carrying that's based off of trauma. A lot of times in that ego filter layer of our auric field, I see that out in the 12th layer of our auric field, way out in our edges of our aura, we have these lenses that we view the world through, and these protector parts are really good at keeping those lenses in place and keeping us in a state of that hypervigilance, or maybe in a story, in relationships, or in certain experiences, and we keep repeating those loops over and over again. Last month we worked on clearing out some of those old stories, which is actually clearing these ego filters or these ego lenses that the protector parts carry. As that starts to dismantle, then the protector part says, okay, what's my job now? If I'm not here to uphold this story or this hypervigilance or this scared state of being, how do I serve my purpose? And oftentimes that can create a little freak out in the ego layer. And we might have a little bit of an identity crisis kind of energy this month with that. When that happens, it's important to just say, okay, this is a part that has existed for a long time to protect me. It's freaking out a little bit because it doesn't know what its job is. Let me be with this part. Let me validate this part of me and let it know that it's done its job. It's served its purpose. It has done an amazing job protecting me. And now we are going to grow together. I'm going to take it by the hand and we're going to work into our next frequency, our next up leveling of how we're going to show up in the world. And it's going to come from a lot less fear and a lot less hypervigilance. And that's an exciting thing. And I'm curious about what that might look like in my relationship. So that's one way that you can be with these parts if they do get triggered this month and start freaking out a little bit. An ego death is not a bad thing. It just means that a part of us that we've upheld for a long time that has kept us separate from other people, kept us in that safely protected state of being, is falling away, and a new part is coming online. A new higher level aspect of self is coming online. So that is really positive, right? That is a great thing to be anchoring as we move into Lionsgate and we are working on our heart chakras and being in an empowered state of being with a wildly open heart, which is something that I see us working on in August. So let's talk a little bit about the third theme. We're going to be working with this theme on August 14th. It's a couple Wednesdays from now in Healing Circle at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and it's called the Courageously Open Heart. In this particular healing circle and with this theme, I'm going to be bringing in some new helpers that I haven't brought into Healing Circle before. I'm going to be bringing in Merlin and Guinevere and Saint Germain and the Knights of the Round Table for this particular theme. I had an experience in meditation about a week before going to Mount Shasta and connecting with the Avalonian and Glastonbury energies that existed there, and was shown how each of us as light warriors are going to be going through an upgrade this month in our shielding and in our protection energy. And I was placed into this meditative state and shown all this armor just being dismantled from my body. And I was given this beautiful sword of light and this beautiful shield of light and told, okay, this is where we're going as light warriors, as light workers. It's no longer in this place of clunky, heavy, old karmic stories that are protecting us from re-experiencing the past. It is this beautiful light-filled armor and light-filled swords, basically, that we're being given so that we can cut through illusion and we can claim truth and we can see with clarity what the right path forward is. And we're going to be generating this energy of clarity, this energy of wisdom from our heart space. We're going to be opening our hearts. We're going to be de-armoring our hearts this month and stepping forward in a courageously open-hearted way as we move forward through these next 6 months, as we move through the end of the year and into 2025. And so I think that this month in particular is going to be a turning point for a lot of you as you start to claim that you can keep your heart open and you can be courageous and you can be a light worker and a light warrior all at the same time, and you can feel very supported and held in unconditional love as you do that. So I think a lot of you are going to be getting new guides, new helpers, new insights, new clarity on your mission this month. I think that's really what this courageously open-hearted energy is going to be all about. And I keep thinking when I hear this theme, Leo energy is a lot about heart. When they're in their high side, they're big, open-hearted, playful, they meet the world heart wide open. When they're in their shadow side, though, that can look a little bit angry, a little bit forceful, a little bit demanding, a little bit manipulative. Those are all old energies that I see us clearing out of our heart chakras from past pains and hurts that we've experienced. Whether you're a Leo or not, we all carry some aspect of this energy. A lot of us have Leo aspects in our in our chart. And so it's important that we continue to de-armor these hearts and let those heart gates or heart walls down so that we can find a deeper state of connection, not only with ourself, with Source and our guides, as well as with Mother Earth, but also with the human collective. I think gone are the days where we need to hide away and isolate in order to be safe. I really feel that we've got to get out into the world and make connections and do it bravely with a courageous open heart. And so this third theme is really what we're going to be working on with that in mind this month. I think a lot of you are going to be going through heart chakra upgrades. I think you're going to be learning to live from your heart and actually understanding what that means and it not being maybe what you expected it to. I think a lot of times when we hear courageously open heart or we hear living from the heart, it means being in a pure state of love all of the time. I don't actually think that's what this is. When we are living from our heart, we are living from our authentic expression and truth. And that doesn't mean that we don't get angry. It doesn't mean that we don't get sad. It actually just means that we are divinely human and divinely imperfect in our state of being, and we are coming from our heart and our authentic expression and doing the best we can in each and every moment. And we are speaking from our heart. We are connecting from our heart. We are connecting from that place of truth. This is not about loving everyone unconditionally all the time and never getting upset or never getting angry. I think this is about honoring wherever we are on our journey, giving ourselves grace, giving ourselves compassion, and then learning that as we do that for ourselves and we create more space for all of our individual parts that might be healing, that we can then do that out in the world with other people as well. I also like to think of the cowardly lion from the Wizard of Oz when I think of this particular theme, and we're claiming that and starting to heal those naive or fearful parts and claiming the courage that exists underneath it and bringing that up, because in order to keep your heart open in the world with so many hard things happening, you have to be pretty courageous. So I also see that this is going to be connecting to and tapping into the very root of our being and the power that exists there and bringing that up through the solar plexus, letting that solar light expand that we worked on so much last month and in the month of June, and bringing that up into the heart and letting our heart light shine out into the world with courage. For some of you, this might look like, as we move out of retrograde, especially later this month, moving forward and being seen in a bigger way, having a bigger stage, taking some chances, dreaming bigger, putting yourself out into the world in some way. Maybe you're going to go back and start dating again. Maybe you're going to launch a business idea or a book or something that you've been wanting to do for a long time. These might be ways that this courage manifests itself this month. I also really feel like this is going to give you some insight into If you were to live from your heart, what would your life look like? And you're going to start to make some slow and steady changes or redirects this month that are going to allow you to live more from that heart frequency all the time. This might look like boundaries. This might look like considering a move to a new physical location. I see that a lot of you are going to be getting some inspiration this month on changes that you need to make in order to live freely from your heart space. And the more that you tune in and the more that you act and listen courageously to these inner whispers, I think the more easeful your process is going to be as we navigate the next 6 months of change here on this beautiful planet Earth. This also is going to support us in continuing to stay heart open in places where we are being met with fear and being met with judgment. Certainly, it's going to help with that last theme that we just talked about, which is befriending the protector and those parts of ourselves that feel vulnerable and really helping to up-level them. I see that these two themes are working very hand in hand this month. I'll probably be weaving in a little bit of that protector energy into our healing circle as well, so that you all can get some support in these energies this month. So lots of really big, beautiful changes coming in as we navigate the month of August. I do think that we have earned it this month to get some light and get some clarity and get some momentum moving forward. Even though we're going to be in retrograde and there's going to be some things that are slowing down, it doesn't mean that progress stops. It just means that we are a little bit more in that slow and steady forward pacing. We get to take a bit of a breather and we get to work on opening our heart in the present moment and meeting things with courage and curiosity. Two of my favorite words, especially as we're navigating all these changes on this planet. So if you'd like to join us for that particular healing circle, again, it's going to be on August 14th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We also have some really exciting things coming up in the month of September and October. We're going to get back into hosting some local workshops and events here in Charlotte. I'm going to be opening up in August our registration for our Costa Rica retreat that's going to be happening in May. We've already got quite a few people on the list, so if you want to be included in that early release, send me an email. I'll put that below this video. We also are planning 2 more trips next year, one to Peru and one to Bimini in the Bahamas to swim with wild dolphins and connect with Atlantean energies, which is going to be amazing. I can't wait. That's going to be in October of next year. Peru will be in July, August of next year. So if you're not on my newsletter and you want this information, you want to get early access to all of these adventures, please get connected. I've also got some really important classes coming up for the fall. I'm working on a book and an oracle deck, so lots of really important things happening behind the scenes here at Zen Within Academy and the New Earth Now School. So make sure you get on my email list so you can stay connected to all that goodness and get first information about everything that's launched. I hope you all have a great August. Check my website for all those upcoming events. We've got a sound healing coming up with a professional flute player who's flying all the way in from Arizona. Very excited about that. That's coming up in September, and we've got some festivals that we'll be performing at in September as well. All right, have a great August, and I will be back in the next coming weeks with little tidbits and bits of information and energy updates throughout the month. I hope you have a great 8/8 Lionsgate portal, and I hope to see some of you at the August Healing Circle coming up on August 14th. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe to this page. Have a great day, everyone.